Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weekly Reader, where we talk about people, politics, and pop culture. Where we are heavy on the politics. Everybody, welcome. We have such a full show tonight. And we got everybody in the house. We got guests. We got special commentators coming in to talk about what's happening in Maryland. I mean, it's a whole lot happening. Somebody say hello, 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 hello. We here. We up in this hole. With that being said, we also have check out the Madness Collective on YouTube. We will definitely be checking that out. You check us out because we got Cowboy Carter up in the house ready to go. Cowboy Carter is in full effect. Cowboy Carter is coming to us live. Yeah, Cowboy Carter. How do you feel about this kid? Are you feeling empowered? You feel good about Cowboy Carter?
I'm just glad that we're taking back folklore. I'm glad that we're taking back country because it started off as a black culture thing. And then it was just taken from us. And I'm glad that Beyonce is leaning back into it, being the fact that she is from Texas. She's a Texas native. And I'm just glad. I'm just here for it. I'm here that a lot of us are starting to walk in this truth. And I know a lot of people are hating on her being able that she's black and she's trying to take the culture back. But look, it's just one of them things. I know the album's gonna do well, and I know that it's
You know it's gonna do
doing
well.
exactly what it's supposed to do.
Well, you know the title of tonight's show. This ain't Texas, so well that might be big for Texas. I don't know if it's gonna be big for the. But we're gonna see. We're gonna get the panel's opinion for those who've listened. I can guarantee you, $20 bill right now that this man right here has not listened to Cowboy Carter. I guarantee you. I'm willing to bet $20 on the table. He has not listened to this album from beginning to end. I guarantee you.
So then you would win that. You would win that bet because I listened to part of it and I haven't listened to the full thing.
And you turned it right off. And you turned it right off.
No. I just like to listen to the album multiple times over before I can know if I like it or not. And
that I'm calling bull on that because when Pink Friday 2 came out, you listened all the way through.
It was 12:30 at night, and he was texting us talking about how great the album was, and we both were like, eh?
But it's different because Cowboy Carter has 27 songs on there.
This ain't Texas.
Pink Friday, what, 18?
I don't know. Is it 18? I don't know.
So, with that being said, we're going to just jump right into the first topic. And our first topic starts off, everyone, I hope that you had a happy Easter. For those who celebrate, hopefully the Easter Bunny brought you some great eggs. Maybe you laid a couple eggs yourself because that's exactly what Caitlyn Jenner did in her attempts to attack President Biden and his declaration of not only Easter, but also Trans Day of Visibility. Trans Day of Visibility happens every March 31st this year. It so happened to coincide with Easter. We open up the floor to kind of see what you guys thought about the egg that Caitlyn Jenner, Fox News, and a number of conservatives made in their attempts to attack President Biden for even recognizing Trans Day of Visibility on Easter 2024.
I think this was a mess. I think the reality is that they try to do what they do with everything, which is try to score political points on non-issues. Look, the reality is we know that Easter falls on a different day every single year. That has not changed, right? That has to do with the equinox and all this other stuff. And it has nothing to do with one specific day. And we know that Trans Visibility Day always is on the 31st. So the reality is that they got called out for this spectacle, and again, they were trying to score political points, and it's ridiculous. But when have they done something that wasn't ridiculous?
I think a lot of people just need to stop centering themselves and stop trying to, try to take away from trans people in whole, because what we're seeing right now is we have all these anti-LGBT bills that's being introduced in a lot of these conservative areas, and we have a president who's been vocal and a true ally. Not only that, but being able to put out policy for affirmative care for youth, knowing that the youth struggles when it comes to self-harm and what we also call suicide. Being the fact that he's affirming the youth and letting them know that they exist and just acknowledging that they are who they are. I think what people want to do is they want to use any type of thing that they can to try to take away from when we're supposed to be pushing a narrative as far as showing visibility and existence for our communities.
Kenny, that's the. And I don't. I think Tiff. You taking? I think Tiff may be taking off. I know Carrie's not on mute, so anyone who wants to jump in, you guys, of course, can get ready to jump in. I just want to say, I think it even goes deeper than that. Like, look, people, we have to understand that Project 2025 is being implemented, and if you've read the 900-page document, you've seen the lengthy language in Project 2025 that seeks to criminalize trans existence. It is a clear, definitive line in the sand that is in this document that seeks to restructure the way that the executive branch of the American government does business and operates. So that's a keystone of the Republican agenda for America. It is a part of their vision. And in that process, I don't know if there's a great concern about the loss of life, about the unaliving or the mental health state of our brothers and sisters who happen to be trans. I can't find anywhere that that is being considered or is a paramount concern to people who are signing their names to say that they are going to support and endorse Project 2025. I'm disappointed to see and I'll just call it out. I was looking at on my Instagram, and I follow an Instagram account called Them. It is a really good website with a really good social media presence. And I've seen over the course of the month of March several anti Biden posts, several posts attacking President Biden for his lack of acknowledgement of the trans community. And every time I see that, I comment. But what I've also seen in a deep dive on this page and pages like this is I don't see them saying one single thing about any Republican action against the trans community. And it makes me call into question everything about them and to say that they're probably paid ops or they're being paid to do this. With that being said, anybody else want to take on to this situation or this conversation?
Anybody seen
Well,
Tyrese?
Tyrese.
Child.
I did, Kenny. I did see Tyrese, who was very upset, but I mean,
He's walking back and says that the trans community, the LGBT community as a whole, we need to educate. We're tired of educating. If he wanted to be educated, he wouldn't have said some ignorant comments rather than actually taking that time to Google what Trans Awareness Day was, rather than saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go ahead and tweet something hateful as if this is somehow going to affect the damn children when Easter falls on a different day. What's he going to do when Easter falls on 420? What's he going to say that day?
Go ahead.
The only thing I wanted to add to this conversation is we don't need to wait for Project 2025 because as we saw on Sunday, it's very evident that they want to completely eradicate the trans community. And they keep packaging it in, oh, we're protecting children. We're protecting children. No, we just don't want these things done to children. That's not it. Obviously, that's not it. You showed your whole entire agenda when you freaked out about this day that falls on the same day every year. And if for everyone who questions that, you can go back to the White House calendar, even from like 2018, 2019, 2017, when Trump was in office. And it's acknowledged on the White House calendar when he is in office. So I think that, it's just very clear what their intentions are, and they're not going to wait for Project 2025. They are very adamant that they want to basically do as much harm to that community as possible.
Yeah. For me personally, okay, there's two things. One, not everyone celebrates Easter. Let's be clear about that. So that is a holiday that is specifically for Christians. There are people that are Muslims. There are people that are Jews. There are people that are atheists. There are people that are Buddhists. There are people that do not celebrate Easter. So to make that day specifically about Easter just shows like some kind of Christian supremacism to me in a weird way. You can celebrate two things or three things or four things or five things on the same day because it was also Cesar Chavez Day. So for them to just censor themselves, like Kenny said, to make it about themselves was pretty freaking ridiculous. And I felt bad because for the trans community, because it was overshadowed by all these people, and Caitlyn Jenner being the person who kind of like kicked this off was just even worse. It was horrible. I feel bad. I felt bad for the trans community because they were not censored in the whole conversation.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you right here, under probably 2025, I bet you will celebrate Easter. I bet you will, or you'll be put in a re-education camp. I need you to sit down. I need you to research. And I need you to read the plan for America that conservative Republicans have cast. Yeah, you're gonna celebrate Easter in America because Easter is a fundamental part of America per Project 2025. But Brian, I don't want to take away all hope and optimism. I know that we're on two different sides of this battle, and I'm happy to represent all things evil and dark in the push for fear. And nothing makes me more afraid than this.
Well, I mean,
I hate to say it.
and let me just say this: Stephen Colbert did a good piece on this when he was talking about in April of 2029, Easter will fall on April 1st. Will they then get mad that it falls on April Fool's Day? I mean,
Or like Kitty said, when it falls on 420, and there's a mass number of people who use that day to uh, and indulge in the devil's lettuce. The rabbits eat carrots and they smoke lettuce, and that's just what it is on that particular day. Or they eat it. I know some of you on this, you eat the devil's lettuce in the snacks that you cook up. Cook it in the kitchen like a
Four,
stir fry.
420 is also the mustache man, Hitler's birthday. So they might be conflicted on who to actually
Oh,
celebrate
baby.
next year.
That's what I'm saying. That now that
Mm,
right there,
mm,
that
yes.
is what's definitely gonna be the conflict for a number of people. Well done. What isn't so well done was the valuation of Truth Social and how the actual price of this stock has now started to plummet. Trump's social media company loses billions in value as the stock price swings wildly down. We talked about this last week. We talked about Truth Social and this high valuation and Trump getting his money. He's a very lucky businessman at times, and things tend to go in his favor. What do we think about Truth Social's plummeting valuation?
Well, it's a meme stock. I don't know if you guys know what a meme stock is. It's basically what GameStop was. It looks good on paper in terms of the stock prices, but at the end of the day, doesn't take into consideration like how much money it makes, profitability, and we know that Truth Social is actually a loser for Trump. It was always a loser for Trump. So it's just literally out there, and the people that are funding to make the stock price higher are Trump fanboys. There's a whole article on this that I posted yesterday from Quartz, and it's a boat. It's like a Ponzi scheme at this point. So Trump can make money off of it, even though he can't take out money for 6 months out of it. We'll see if that changes. And today he's suing the co-founders of True Social. It's all a scam. It's a total scam.
Wait, what do you mean he's suing the co-founders?
Yeah,
That
there's people who were like developers of Truth Social, and he's suing them so they don't get their percentage of stock from this new company.
Mhm.
He's shady as hell.
Wait, oh my God! You mean to tell me that Donald Trump has? I mean, literally, this man has the what is he, Shante? What is he? The bum from Jamaica Estates. You mean to tell me that this man screwed over every single person he's worked with, that every single person that has pledged loyalty to him. Rona Romney McDaniel, what's your former governor, mayor, whatever, what's his name? Julian. Every single person, Michael Cohen, that this man comes in contact with, who does business with him, he is ruining them one by one. So now the people that came together to give him his own Twitter, to build his own Twitter from scratch, he is now suing them to cut them out of this profit that's going to be made from the company.
Yep.
I missed that.
That's his history. If you are from here, Tiff knows that's his history. He's always suing people. This man is, and the crazy part is people like, well, he has money. No, he never has money. I mean, he messed up his father's money. He almost got what you call it, from the mob with the casinos back in the early 80s. He filed for bankruptcy so many times, 4 times, and he just stiffs people out of deals. So I mean, like when he ran, the worst thing he ever did was ran for office and got elected, unfortunately, with Russian help. I always say that, and he is a bum because no
The
matter
worst
how
thing
much
that we ever did. That's the worst thing
money
that we, the American people, ever did.
the listen, I'm not part of that we that voted for that man. I voted for the pantsuit lady that was my senator, was my senator for 8 years. So I did not vote for that bum. I will refuse to call him president of anything. I don't even like to say his name. He is a bum because no matter how much money he has a low class mentality attitude, and so is his family.
Mm. And not only that, let's also talk about the fact that the company only made $4 million because they had to report it to the SEC,
Say it.
and they lost $58 million. I mean,
Allegedly.
well, when you think about
Because
it,
Trump will cook the books, okay? Allegedly.
well, right, and the
And
other thing,
he'll claim a loss. Like I just did my taxes and I didn't claim a loss. Tax IRS people. I'm sitting here doing it the right way.
Yeah. But I mean, they don't really have very much advertising. Basically, he had a Republican donor, like a guy that's worth like, I don't know, $20 billion, a ridiculous amount of money. Basically give the company, Give Truth Social, like $3 billion to pump up the value.
right,
And cook the books. But yeah, I mean, if you ever look at, like, I don't know if you ever look at when they screenshot posts that he posts, he'll have like 4,000 likes. Like there's nobody on that app.
right.
Yeah, I think I saw that it was what 500,000 active like users. I think they said they have like there are millions of people that have accounts, like maybe 5 million. Where I think Twitter has like 500 million or way more. But they have like their 5 million accounts, but they only have like 500,000 like actual true users within a course of a year. I think is what I may have seen.
So is he
Um,
bot farming? Is that what's going on? To inflate that he has more users? Is it the same thing with inflating his assets?
Yeah,
I
maybe.
mean, yeah,
It
Maybe.
wouldn't
definitely.
surprise me. But what did surprise me, as Brian pointed out in the latest episode of Run the Clip. And so, if you're not watching that or following that, you need to follow that. Let me tell you something right now. Let me just take a damn pause. We have 289 people watching us on the Malcolm X app, and we're thankful that you're there. We are thankful that you're watching us on the Malcolm X app, but we really need you to finish watching or take a pause and go over to the YouTube, 3 Plus 1 Media. And I need you to watch it from there or watch it later from there because Twitter's not paying me a thing. Okay, for the a-holes who said that I'm getting paid by the DNC, Daddy Jamie Harrison, come on, bro. I'm happy to work. I will do something right here in my basement. Just what Donald Trump is doing as he is hiding in his, since he's not been on the campaign trail very often. Pay me, pay all of us because we're not getting paid. And on the Malcolm X app, we're also not getting paid. But on the YouTube app, I am monetized and we are able to get views that count and build and tell the algorithm that this program, this weekly live, is worth watching to other YouTube users who may not follow politics but would be intrigued by such an attractive assembly of men and women. Brian, in on your YouTube show on the Mentally Divine channel, Mentally Divine Studios, you do the Run the Clip, and you talked about how Donald Trump was able to get. You say he's losing money, but he posted his $175 million bond, and
Mm.
he has support of some millionaires and billionaires who are coming back over. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Run that clip.
Run that clip. So Ali Velshi on MSNBC broke it down and talked about the fact that millionaires and billionaires are now coming back into the fold. Now, these people were mega donors from the Republican Party who had been never Trumpers at one point, right? At 2016, they may have talked shit about him and said, no, we have to go in a different direction. Or in 2020, after his election, or after January 6th, in different parts of Trump's just rhetoric and his administration, they were kind of like turned off and said, we have to look for an additional or an alternative person who could run. So when they were going through the Republican primary, they were looking at Governor Ron DeSantis, they were looking at Nikki Haley, and they were looking at other people. The fact that Trump was still able to clinch the nomination, they're coming back into the fold and are thinking about putting donations into his campaign. Now, this is big money. And the reason why it's important, because I talked about this as well. Like, I know that a lot of people are tired of hearing the fact that he's broke. I know a lot of people are tired of hearing the fact that he has insurmountable legal challenges and money that he has to pay for all these legal bills. But we have to talk about this because a man with nothing to lose, a man who has 4 indictments, 91 charges, and 2 impeachments under his belt, who has nothing to lose and is currently right now trying to portray himself as a martyr to his people, because that's the only way he's making big money or real money, is somebody who's a dangerous person, particularly at a time where we saw him literally say, when they asked him, can you take money from foreign governments, or can you take money from foreign people in order to, you know, to get some money? He was like, yeah, I think I could do that, but I don't need it. But I think I could do that, right? What we're trying to demonstrate is that there's a danger here in that this man knows some of our secrets because he was president of the United States and he took documents that he wasn't supposed to. We know the fact that he's willing to do anything so he can sell potentially our secrets, right? He's going to be beholden to these millionaires and billionaires, which also are coming into the fold because they don't want their taxes to go up. You have Joe Biden, who has consistently said people who are millionaires and billionaires need to pay their fair share, but everybody who makes under $400,000 will pay no more in taxes. And he's trying to get tax cuts for middle class and working people, right? These millionaires and billionaires don't want that. They don't want their money to be touched. So that tax code that is going to expire in 2025, they want to make sure that they keep their money. So it's just a big deal. It's a big scandal.
You know, and you, because I think you talked about the founder of BlackRock, right? And so when you look at what all BlackRock owns, it's like, wow. Their stock portfolio is massive, and they have a say in so many things that involve the media. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really worried about what level of influence they could wield by supporting Trump. Not only by supporting Trump, but donating massive amounts of money to his campaign to help him win. Like, what is that going to do to the media companies that are in the BlackRock portfolio? It's something that I think to think about, and I think it's something to kind of be afraid of.
Yeah. I mean, I think and I want to hear what people's thoughts are. Tiff, I want to hear Kara, I want to hear Shantae, particularly as people who we consume media all the time. Like, I think there's a difference between the on-air talent, like Rachel Maddow, or, you know, the other big ones that want to do right, that I can see want to do right. But then you have the higher ups and the executives in those companies that could potentially be influenced. Like, what do y'all think about that? Like, do y'all think that there's going to be some media influencing there from those higher ups executives?
I mean, I think there always has been. I don't see this news being any different than the 2020 election cycle or 2016. BlackRock has been behind Trump this whole time. I mean, that's
bottom line.
Yeah, we've known that. So I think the difference is now we have, he's cornered. He knows that the presidency is his only way of basically avoiding. I personally don't think he's going to go to jail, but avoiding consequences of, his actions. And basically, so he's cornered. But, now it's like, well, we got an ex-U.S. president for sale, y'all. So what's the price? What's the price? What's the price going to be for you to buy a president? And I think that's what we're witnessing right now.
Yeah, I think there's also this need for like MSNBC particularly to be fair, and so that's why they took the reporting was crazy about that Rona Romney, whatever the hell her name is. I can't stand her. I can't stand her face. But the fact that the lady at the top, the black lady, I forget her name. Y'all know her name. She was the one who interviewed her. And then she said, then they decided
they knocked off Rashida Jones, Jones, who's not Rashida Jones, because there's a real Rashida Jones.
Yeah, she's
not. Who was a lovely lady who was on, I think, was it Community? Yes. She was on Community, and then you have the not Rashida Jones, who fired Tiffany
who
Cross,
was also Quincy Jones' daughter. Who's also Quincy Jones' daughter.
Yes, the real Rashida Jones, the real one. The fake one is no relation to Quincy, probably every bit relation to it's Ronald Reagan. Continue, Tiff. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, she interviewed her, and then the higher ups decided to hire this, Rona. And then there was a backlash from, like you said, Brian, the Rachel Maddows and Lawrence and the rest of the people that are on MSNBC. So there's going to start to be, it seems like there's going to be a rift between what the station has an idea of what they want to do, and what the commentators or the hosts have an idea of what the station should look like. And so we're starting to see where people are starting to push back on the executives. And what does that look like? Is someone going to end up getting fired? We don't know, but we know that a lot of times the decision making, if you, I don't personally like her, Tiffany Cross, but I listened to her commentary around why she got fired. And a lot of it was because the producers of these shows have specific things that they want to be talked about. And then that's what's going to be put on the air. So at what point do these people who are hosts, what say do they have in their own programming? And that's where the struggle is going to come into. And I was actually surprised that they pushed back in the way that they pushed back, even Chuck Todd, which we all know how we feel about Chuck Todd. But he had a point and he made it, and they were pissed at him. The station was pissed.
Yeah. Well, but here's my thing, and I want to ask y'all this too, because how do these people reconcile? Like, if I was working on MSNBC and I had a show, how do I, as a host, reconcile the fact that literally Donald Trump is coming out and saying, I'm going to come after you. I'm going to come after the people in the media who don't treat me fairly, which we all know means if you don't push my propaganda, if you don't give me softball questions, I'm going to come for your ass. How do people reconcile that with, I know people need the paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people want to keep that job. But like, as a host, you're on this network and your executives, your bosses are telling you have to push this narrative that is literally leading to your destruction in real life.
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you right here. You do it just like we have to do it. Donald Trump has said he's coming after my ass. Donald Trump literally said, stand back and stand by to white supremacists and Christo-fascists, nationalists in this country on the debate stage right before the 2020 election. He literally promised carnage. He has literally said to the American people that there will be bloodshed like you've never seen if I don't win this election. He said today that America is going to, he said this weekend, America is going to cease to exist.
Right.
Cease to exist. So he's promised to come after me, to come after you, and to come after this whole entire country. Okay, that's what he's done. And so to me, it's time to double down on them and their work to ensure that he doesn't have the opportunity to not only not come after them, but to not destroy what remains of this country that he fractured, that he damaged, that he significantly, damaged on the world stage. That's been slowly rebuilt. Phenomenally so, wonderfully so in 3 years, but still not good enough for the majority of freaking progressives who wanted a miracle, who wanted there to be miracles in 1 year and wanted super miracles within 3. Yeah, that's how you do it. To me, they should be doubling down to ensure, because the reality is CNN and MSNBC, I would think, won't even exist by the end of the Trump dictatorship when he finally probably passes away, like Papa Doc, to let Baby Doc take over. I don't think it's going to even exist at that point, because he's going to have state-controlled and state-run media just like Russia, and that's probably going to go to his friends at Fox News.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you see the reporting that they want to do away with the 25th Amendment and make him president forever?
That's why I just called him Papa Doc. And his son, he'll let one of them be Baby Doc, probably Ivanka.
I don't think these executives are thinking. I think they're looking at the short-term goal rather than the long-term goal of what's going on, because they remember back in 2020, or all the way from 2017 all the way to 2020, everybody was glued to the television. We couldn't stay away from it. And that's the problem that they're having right now, because they understand that they continue to lose ratings, which is why they're trying to appeal to Fox News viewers and moving more and more right, because they're trying to get back, or trying to cater their new audience, or cater all of their talking points to right-wing conspiracies or both sidesism. And we know that they can't paint these false equivalencies when we actually have a president that actually gives to the American people and actually give real results for his constituency, versus somebody who wants to make the presidency about himself rather than the American people who put him in office.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the
And that goes to why we have Tiffany, who was luckily able to join us. And we talk about here again, elections 2024 is something that we will talk about on a regular basis, definitely each month and definitely each week as we get closer to the actual election. Tiffany, you've been posting like a mad woman about what's happening in the Senate race in Maryland. What's happening? Give us some updates, some insight, because I don't understand.
Well, okay, so we have a primary that's coming up on May 14th. So that's for our Senate primary. Ben Cardin, who is currently in the seat, is retiring, and now we have to get a new candidate. We have a primary, like I said, in 6 weeks, 6 whole weeks. But instead of focusing on the primary, Larry Hogan jumped in the race about a couple of weeks ago, and so the media has decided that this is now about Hogan. Our whole race is about Hogan, and can Hogan be beat? And will he be the Republican person to split the ticket in Maryland? Which is so absurd. First of all, we actually need to elect someone to be our Democratic candidate on our side. And there's two candidates. There's Angela Also Brooks and there's David Trone. David Trone is a
And you're
congressman.
supporting Angela.
Right. David Trone. I support Angela. She is the county executive for PG County, which is there's almost 1 million people in that county. It's a huge county, mostly Black and majority Black and Hispanic. And she is the county executive. We don't have in Maryland. We don't have. We have a mayor. We have a mayor of Baltimore, which we know people have now recognized. We have a governor, but we also have county executives who manage each county within Maryland, and she is one of them. Then we have David
Kenny just
Trone.
left to go get her. Like Kenny just popped off camera to go. I tell you, look at that.
He's so funny. Look at him. Yeah, and then we have David Trone, who is a congressman for the Maryland 6th district. So, which is in more of that's Montgomery County and Western Maryland. So his constituency is mostly white, and he also is in a R technically +1 district. So he had to get Republicans to vote for him, but he has a ton of money. He is self-funding his campaign and has spent $39 million out of his own pocket to be able to run in this race. Okay, he has spent more money than Biden. He has spent more money than Trump on ads thus far. He is absolutely trying to buy this election. Angela Also Brooks has, as of the last quarter, she had raised about $5 million. In a normal election, that would be a decent amount of money. It actually is like, it was like the 4th largest amount that she had raised from any candidate in Maryland as of last quarter. But she is going against someone who is putting on ads nonstop. When I say nonstop, I mean nonstop. He is trying to win her county. Obviously, there's 1 million people there. He is trying to win her county, but she is making inroads in Baltimore. There's other counties to win. There's my county, which is Anne Arundel County. There's the county that Kenny, I think, lives or used to live in, which is Montgomery County.
No, I still live in Montgomery.
So yeah, in Montgomery County. And there's Baltimore and Baltimore City, which has a lot of people as well. So this race is wide open. We did get a poll this morning. He's at about I think it was at 44%, I believe it was. I can't remember the exact number, but they're about 9 points apart. But per the people who did the polling, they're like, nah, this is a wide open race. We don't know who's going to win this race. There's 6 weeks to go. There's 24% of people who are undecided. They don't know they don't know who to pick, because both of these candidates are fairly unknown. A lot of people throughout the state do not know them. And I spoke to the pollster this morning, and I said, why are there so many people that are undecided? And she said, well, the reason there's so many people are undecided is think about it like this. In the same poll, 16% of people didn't even have an opinion about Westmore, and Westmore is on the TV. He's everywhere in this state, and there's people that just don't even know who Westmore is. So it is very difficult to win statewide in this state. And yes, Larry Hogan is a popular person because he's known for 8 years. He was our governor. But there's issues with Larry Hogan because he is anti-abortion, and you're not going to win in this state if you're anti-abortion. People are not stupid. And this is not 2014 or 2018. 2014, Larry got a good amount of Democratic votes. It was not a presidential year. And he was able to grab some Democrats, a lot of independents and Republicans. In 2018, he won 30% of Democrats. So he got some crossover votes. But there's a reason why people voted for who voted for him in 2018, who are Democrats. It's because we ran someone who was too far to the left, which was Ben Jealous, who was a Bernie bro, and that does not fly in this state. You cannot win with some leftist candidate. That's not going to work. So he ended up getting smashed, and that's what it was. But again, this is 2024 now. It's a totally different dynamic. Two factors that I know why Larry Hogan will not win in this state. One, it's a presidential year, and so people are not going to put in Biden and then decide, oh, let me put in a Republican in the Senate box. Like that doesn't make sense. Also, abortion is on the ballot in this state to enshrine abortion into our Constitution. If you're
And
going
Hogan
to
is not, and he's anti-abortion.
Anti-abortion, he keeps saying that he has like all these little sayings that he has. You know, he won't make a declarative statement about the 15-week abortion ban. He's always been anti-abortion. This is not anything new. He has veto bills here that are related to abortion. He's not for abortion. So we all know that Mitch McConnell recruited him to be able to run for this seat. So there's many factors, but the goal for me and for Kenny, who live here, is really to try to get Angela Also Brooks elected. She is a Black woman. She's a former prosecutor. Like I said, she was a state's attorney for PG County, and now she is the PG County executive. So we have.
So what y'all doing to get her elected?
Look, we're doing the work, okay?
Listen.
If you've seen, when we went to go volunteer for her, when I tell you everybody knows who Tiff is. Tiff is literally on the grounds, making sure that she's at every debate. Every time she has any type of event, she is literally right there, dead in center, trying to advocate for Angela. So, she doesn't just walk that walk, she talks that talk and does all of it, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
And Zach, can you put Kenny, make Kenny big so we can put the sign back up. Put the sign back. Put the sign back up.
Early voting starts on May 2nd, which I always early vote, and there are ballot boxes all up and through Maryland. They don't play no games, so there really is no excuse.
There's really no excuse. And like I said, and not to mention, we found, like Kenny and I were talking about before, there was supposed to be a TV debate that was supposed to happen. All the debates so far have been on, you have to go to the forum, there might be virtual, but there was supposed to be an actual TV debate on our Baltimore station, WBAL, on the 23rd. And David Trone said that he is not committing to go to that debate, and they canceled the debate. So that means that you're on mute, boo. You're on mute.
Yeah, I saw that. You posted that. Like, why is he not doing the debate?
Because every time that they have a debate, and I was just recently at the other one, it seems like the more people actually hear Angela Also Brooks speak, the more it makes sense for why we should be supporting her. David Trone is just a kook.
Is a PAB. David Trone is a PAB.
Yeah, he put it like this. He's your typical rich white man, okay? He rambles, he talks too much, he does not answer questions, and he knows
he's loud on the microphone.
He is loud as I don't know what. Me and Kenny were like, they told that man, they said, move the mic from your mouth. Me and Kenny looked at each other and started busting out laughing because he was so damn loud. But he knows that if he debates her one-on-one on TV, that she will embarrass him. Number one. Also, let's get
he buys. He thinks he can buy access to Republicans.
He thinks he can buy access. He's a panderer. Okay. He if you look at all his pictures, all his ads, he has Black people in them trying to, and this Hispanic woman is also in his ad. She's like the highest ranking Hispanic woman. She drives me crazy. I had an argument with her last week. Because I'm like, how are you supporting this man? He literally just said the JIGA boo word in Congress. Like, what are you doing? So I'm like, you okay with Mr. Jigga Who? Like, come on now. What are we doing here?
And the last question I have is this, and then I know, Brian, you have a question?
No, go.
And I was going to ask, though, will the people who are supporting him, if he loses the primary, are they going to go Republican for Hogan, or do you think they will come over?
No.
Okay.
No, there's the people that are supporting him. there's a lot of, okay, so there's a lot of people that are supporting him because of his money. Okay, let's be real about this. So the people that support him in Congress, even including one of my faves, Hakeem Jeffries, he is supporting him because he has given $1.5 million to congressional candidates. They cannot walk away. What are they going to do? Say, nah, we're not supporting you, right? So they had to. He's given tons of money to the DCCC. So they're not going to walk away. I mean, the people that are in this state that support him, they're going to go with Angela. Some of it is personal, where Angela may have endorsed one of their opponents at some point in the past, or maybe they have a disagreement over something, and so people are being petty in a lot of ways, or they owe him a favor in terms of the fact that he gave them money. I think the issue more so is in terms of like what's going to happen. I think people will coalesce, and we will form a coalition around whoever wins. If David Trone wins, I don't personally like the man, but I'm going to vote for him. I just don't feel that people will be like excited about voting for David Trone. He doesn't bring much to the table other than his money. And let's be clear about this: the money thing is a facade, because he's already said, I spent all this money in the primary. I'm gonna need the DSCC to support me. I'm going to need donors to come on board. He's going to need the grassroots, which he has not used the grassroots in the primary. So now all these people are going to have to shift funds to try to help him. It is a tricky situation, because he's given so much of his own money that people have this impression that he is going to be able to be self-sufficient and self-fund in the general, and that's not necessarily true, because he already said, I can't write blank checks anymore.
So one thing I think that's really interesting is that, no matter what, you feel as though the Democrats in Maryland will coalesce together and they're going to maintain a straight up and down ballot, especially when you look at the fact that it's a presidential year and we have President Biden on that ballot. You have the bodily autonomy and reproductive justice on that ballot. A lot of Democrats think the exact same thing is going to happen in Florida. People, this ain't Texas. And they believe that because on yesterday, the Florida Supreme Court upheld a 6-week abortion ban, if effective in that state. And they're going to allow it to also be a ballot measure in November that people in Florida are going to come out in large numbers to vote in favor of a woman's right to choose, bodily autonomy and reproductive freedom, and that they're also going to vote for Joe Biden. Now, that's what some people are thinking. I'm going to save my opinion and open the floor up. What do you think?
I don't necessarily think that the Biden campaign is putting money into Florida, thinking that they are going to pull a W, but it's a masterful move because they have money to spare. So they're going to put in money to the very competitive Senate races, right? So there's a real close Senate race. And they're going to force the Republicans to spend money in a state, and the Republicans are cash strapped. And also, too, I think this is really indicative that their internal polling is telling them something that we don't know.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to trust the process on that. But a masterful move is going to help the down ballot. And if we could possibly pick up some House seats, maybe even, flip that Senate seat in Florida, then it would be 100% worth it.
Yeah. And again, and I've said this before when we talk about, and as a different example, when I talked about being able to spend money to claw back some of those supporters little by little. No, you may not win it in this election, but you're going to have to keep playing the long game so that at some point you do win it back. Because if you do nothing, then you get zero impact. And that's the same thing that we have to do. And I think, again, this is going to be the biggest Trojan horse for Republicans. They continue to double, triple, and quadruple down on anti-abortion legislation when we have seen in this country, every single time it's been on the state referendums, every single time it's gone through the courts, through the local courts, 9-0. Anti-abortion legislation loses every single time. If Maryland lands in Alabama, flipping that Republican seat, that Donald Trump with 30 points is not a harbinger for you to let you know that even Republican women, these white women, are not in favor of this. Just today, I saw Charlie Kirk post a video where he was talking about contraceptives and how contraceptives damage the female brain and make women bitter and angry, right? And I posted that. And I was like, look, the reality is these people have told you time and time and again that contraceptives are next. If you haven't been paying attention in 2020 when Donald Trump was on, the administration took aim at contraceptives, they're going to do it again when they, in Project 2025 says that they're going to, remove them altogether. And the reality is that people are mad. I had some white women stitching my video, being pissed off, going off. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't think that these are one-off siloed situations. I don't think that these are lone wolf situations. I think that there's going to be I'm saying it right now, I think there's going to be a silent vote. Doesn't matter what they tell their husbands. When they get into that ballot box, I think white women are going to turn out. That's my prediction. I think white women are going to turn out. I know I understand a lot of people have
It's very hopeful.
I know a lot of people think because they can't trust. I understand that. And historically speaking, and the statistics show we cannot. But I think that when it comes down to this issue, I think women are going to turn out. I really do.
I agree with you. I agree with you too. I don't agree there's going to be like some massive swath of women that are going to come out, but I do agree that there are going to be people, because there are people who are conservative, but also are believe in choice. I mean, we have to accept that, right? So there's sometimes there's a conflict, right? And I feel like in Florida specifically, right? So there is a Senate race, and like you said, and Debbie Mercosal-Powell is the person who is running for that seat. She's a Latina woman. She used to be a congresswoman, and now she's running for Senate. She had lost her race in I think 2020, and now she's running for the Senate seat. She is backed by DSCC. She is the person that's going to be running for that seat. I think the issue with Florida is, how red has it really become? We know Florida, in terms of voter registration, it is mostly Republican. Then you also have a lot of people who are unaffiliated, or as they say, independent. I don't even believe in that. And then you have Democrats. So from a registration standpoint, if independents and Democrats actually got on the same page, then yeah, there could be some way that Senate seat could be flipped. Rick Scott is not popular. He won by very few votes in 2018. He is not Marco Rubio, who is loved by the Hispanic community, who has kind of like a solidified spot. Remember, Rick Scott was governor. He's a very corrupt person. So there may be a way to make some inroads there. Are we going to win the presidency there? I don't believe so. That is literally Trump land. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think you have to invest in Florida for the long term. So this is not necessarily about 2024 presidency. You have to make inroads for 2028, which we know who will likely be on that ballot in 2028. And you have to start courting that Caribbean community. You have to start courting some of those Latinos back, the youth, women, and try to gain some. You cannot cede Florida just to the Republicans and just be like, whatever, we just give up on this state. We've done that in a lot of states, and that's 30, guys. That's 30 electoral college votes. We win Florida. At some point, we don't. The rest of the races are, the rest of all those purple states and stuff. They won't matter as much if we can eventually make some inroads. And it's not like we haven't won Florida before. Okay, let's be real about that. It just hasn't happened in a really long time.
And I think it's really important to just highlight that the Biden campaign, they have so much money that they are able to do that. And it's not just Florida. They are also investing in Texas. They're also investing. There was another state. They have a big team in North Carolina too, which they actually think North Carolina is in play and they can win.
I said it first. I want to go on the record. I said it first right here on the Weekly Reader that as soon as I saw that Clown Daddy, Black Clown Daddy, was going to be the Republican nominee for governor, I knew that we would have a strong chance of winning North Carolina, which also will balance out so many things. I do not believe that President Biden and the Democrats will win Georgia, but North Carolina will make up for the loss of Georgia in November. And so, with that said, I think that, it's time to kind of move into some pop culture. And Shantae, I'm going to start off with you because As a resident of New York, you are very familiar with the bomb from Jamaica Estates. I think you're probably somewhat also similar to the ongoings and the shenanigans of I don't want to call him a bum from Brooklyn. Maybe I'll call him the I don't know, the diddler from Brooklyn. Sean Combs.
He's not from Brooklyn. He's actually was born in
Oh, I thought
Harlem
he
and
was from
raised.
Brooklyn.
No,
Oh, okay, Harlem.
he was born in Harlem but raised in Mount Vernon. So, Sean, because that's his name. Uh, it was always sketchy stuff about him. It was always sketchy stuff about Sean Carter. No, excuse me, Sean Combs. It's always, but Sean Carter ain't innocent neither, right? But we not gonna get into that. But Sean Combs it was always sketchy in my opinion. He was always kind of like standoffish. I mean, he's a little charitable, but he was always standoffish to me. So all of these revelations are not surprising to me. It's just the fact that like it just took years for him to go down, and he's going down in the worst way.
Mm. Kenny.
Look, let me go last. I got something.
Because I know, yeah, I always say that because I know Kenny has some thoughts.
And I did on TikTok a deep dive into the Diddy allegations, like a very deep dive. And I actually have a three-part series. I'm dropping part two tomorrow. Then I'm going to drop part three the next day. And I might even add a part four because Christian Combs, also known as King Combs, was unfortunately suppose allegedly he is going to have a new lawsuit come out against him on Friday. Now, this has been breaking from trash can media sources like the Neighborhood Talk and the Shade Room. I have not seen any reputable news sources comment on it yet, so I have not. I'm withholding judgment, but I am trying to dig and fact check some information. A lot of people, and the whole purpose and kind of premise of that, and I'm going to also post that all three parts. I'm going to bundle together. I'm going to post them also right here on this YouTube channel, and I'll do that on Friday morning. But a lot of people rush to like break the news, spill the tea. But I look at like, you can get sued for that. When you come out with false information, you can get sued, and you can also lose a lot of credibility. And that's something that we're like, I mean, personally, as a content creator, I'm trying to build that. So I waited to like be able to really read the actual legal filing against Sean Combs, Justin Combs. The CEO of Universal Music Group is named in that. The former CEO of Defendant Motown Records is named in that. And that's the most recent one from Rodney Little Rod Jones, who has all these allegations, but not just allegations. In his lawsuit, he has evidence. Like in the lawsuit, it shows lots of images. It shows Cuba Gooding Jr. hugged up on him. You literally see Cuba Gooding Jr. touching him on parts of his body that may not be very appropriate to touch. All of this, I mean, all of this is right there in the 75-page filing. Sean Combs is absolutely going to be, I think, in a lot of legal trouble. And I think it's going to be a long process. And I don't think it's going to be swift justice, but it's going to be a lot. And I think it's going to possibly open up the door for a whole lot of other people to be examined as well. And from reading that, the allegations, and they are allegations, it's just what one man is claiming happened to him. But it looked extremely like I don't see how you're gonna get out of this. I just don't see it. And again, it's not just one lawsuit. There are five lawsuits. You have, of course, we all know about the Cassie Ventura, where he immediately filed. There's Joy out of Connecticut. There's another young lady that was out of New York that was forcibly assaulted in 1991. Then there's a Jane Doe that we should find out her name in a couple of weeks, who was supposedly trafficked across state lines with Andre Harrell or whatever. I'm sorry, whatever the guy, the other executive was at Bad Boy. It's just a lot, and it's piling up. It doesn't seem to be
I
abating or
believe it
letting up
was Andre
anytime soon.
Harrell, which he's dead. So
Got it. So I mean, it's not getting better anytime soon for Diddy, and I think I still think I think it's gonna be really bad. I think he's involved a lot of people like his sons and some of this stuff, and it's all of it's really disappointing to me.
It's that Kim Porter voodoo. Okay, I'm telling you, till you
Mm-mm-mm.
do right by me, everything that you have is you gonna fail. Look, I'm trying to tell you. Look, this is a long time coming, and I think the writing was on the wrong for Puff Daddy. I'm gonna call him Puff Daddy because that's what he likes to be called, Daddy. I think the writing was on the wall when he started giving people their rights back for their music. When it came to, I think he was giving them back their publishing rights, and he had them sign a non-disclosure agreement. I think Danity Kane, what was her name, Aubrey O'Day, she came out
Mhm.
saying, "Don't sign the paperwork because we need to be able to tell our truth on what this man did to us and all the things and atrocities he had us actually have to face, actually working up under him." And unfortunately, some people just look. I think the problem is when you get certain amounts of money. Diddy reminds me of the black version of Donald Trump. They feel that they're untouchable when they reach a certain level to where they acquire so much wealth to where they think that they can buy anything, buy justice, even buy people. I've been going through a lot of old footage of Diddy, particularly very strange, and it was just a very, I don't know how to explain it. I felt really uncomfortable with the footage I've seen of him and Justin Bieber because it looked like Justin Bieber wanted to get away as if he needed an adult in the room, as if he was trying to, signal for help. And a lot of the videos and images that I seen was very disturbing. I remember I think he was like 30 something years old, almost damn near 40. He had Usher, who was an underage minor, living with him, sleeping on his couch, and was subjected to alcohol, pornography, sex, women, parties, all types of things at just the events that Usher said that he will be releasing at some point in some sort of book. All I know is that a lot of the things that we've seen is allegedly, right? And everybody's known for years that these puffy parties have been going on. And I think that the reason why he thought quickly to sell his revolt, because he's about to sell that too. He's trying to get rid of that. He's giving back the publishing rights to his artists. He settled with Cassie. It's just like I feel like justice will finally be served, and everything that's done in the dark will be coming to the light very soon. That's all I'm gonna say. But all the things that we can say is allegedly, because even with Homeland Security raiding 3 of his houses, because 2 of them were right next to each other, so they raided both in Miami and then one in LA. They did not arrest his children, they just retained them so they wouldn't be a barrier for them actually being able to get the information and actually search the house properly. He hasn't been charged with anything from Homeland Security or anything yet, but for them to actually take the time out to raid his house means they have some snippet of information that might incriminate him. So we'll have to see. Only time will tell. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
Well, the images from Rodney Jones's lawsuit to me were like that's all the evidence you need of a lot of incrimination. I mean, literally, you have, I mean, a lot. But one thing that, a lot of people on social media, a lot of celebrities are coming out and they are speaking in favor of Diddy, and they're saying that the treatment that he's experiencing is unfair and is racially motivated, that he's being treated more harsh because he is a black mogul. Do you guys give any credibility to that?
Hell no, we're not living in the 1990s anymore. Okay, we're not doing that no more. Okay, anybody who does any harm, your ass is going to jail. Okay, Bill Cosby, his ass only got out on a technicality. But every person who does harm, R. Kelly, we're not doing this anymore. We're all about accountability. We're not doing that. Okay, that trauma will not be able to go to the next generation. You're going to be held accountable, sir. I don't care about you being black. If you do harm to our community, you're going to jail. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, ask not what justice can do for you. Ask what you can do for justice. No, instead of asking like, is this man being treated harsher because he is black? Instead, ask like, because he's probably getting exactly what he deserves if he's guilty of these crimes. Ask, is it that people like Robert Downey Jr. got less harsh penalties because they're white? Maybe that should get revisited.
Well,
Instead of
how's
saying, let's
Epstein?
go easier on Diddy, let's go harsher on Robert Downey Jr.
Well, how's Epstein doing? Yeah, I'm just asking a question. How's Epstein doing? Did he not get held accountable, and how is he doing right now? Is he living the
Well, the
life of
second
luxury? Where's he
time,
at?
the
He's
second time
dead.
he got a sweetheart of a deal the first time by a guy that Trump put in his cabinet.
And interesting enough that a lot of Trump wasn't he partying with Diddy too? I mean, there's photos of him with a very with a lot of people. You know, a
No
lot of
one's
people
gonna
use it.
care about Trump. If they didn't care about Trump partying with Jeffrey Epstein with Ivanka in his lap, they are not gonna care about him partying with Diddy. There is no hope for them starting to care.
But Diddy hasn't made a statement. I haven't seen him. I haven't heard anything from Carisha, the city girl, the girl with the big mouth. I haven't heard anything at all. I think he's just so overwhelmed. You know, have you ever been swallowed up to where everything was overwhelming? I just feel that maybe he's just overwhelmed. Have you ever been swallowed? I think that's what's going on with Diddy. He's swallowed with grief.
I mean, and speaking of swallowing, now I mean, that's in the filing. TD Jakes is in the actual. He is mentioned in the actual body of the lawsuit.
But he's
No
mentioned.
one's. Yeah,
Did
he's
you just
not
say,
being sued.
speaking of swallowing, and then go into TD Jakes?
Look,
I-
TD Jakes, that's the meme. You have to go. I'm gonna send you the meme afterwards.
That's the video.
Okay, I've been
Because he was doing a he was preaching.
Sermon.
You know, he was filled with the Holy Spirit, and he talked about swallowing in the middle of sermon, and I was so confused of what was going on because he said he was so overwhelmed. He's been swallowed before. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, he had been swallowed up.
I've been swallowed in the way he's talking about, overwhelmed.
He was swallowed the way that Robin Dixon swallows. And so in the filing, it was Young Miami, who was not labeled as a celebrity, but as a mule runner. It was Stevie Aaron Jordan, known as Stephen Aaron Jordan, known as Stevie J, who I didn't realize had all those Grammys and awards. So shout out to Stevie J for all those awards, but not for the wrongdoing. And in the actual, and this is all going to be in my TikTok post, but for those of you, who won't ever see that, because you won't even probably look and follow my TikTok because you're not even following this YouTube, but you are watching it on Malcolm X. They actually have the pictures of Stevie J and an unnamed wonderful, not beautiful, but wonderful male, like in the filings. And I'm like, now this is too much, but it's in there. Like you can see them laid up in that bed with looks of one having pleasure, the other one having pain in the filing. You also have, unfortunately, Prince Harry is named, Bishop T.D. Jakes. The Georgia Mass Choir is named. Donald Lawrence is named. The Clark sisters are named. Smokey Norfolk, they're named. But here's the thing. They're not named in terms of wrongdoing. Their name is having attended parties, having attended being with Diddy, or having been like witnesses, character witnesses for Rodney Jones, who's done a lot of work in the gospel music industry. Just wanted to again, it was riveting reading. It was riveting.
But let me also say the fact is, and you can fact check me, Zach, because you actually read the thing. From what I saw, TD Jakes is only mentioned because he was going to be used. I think Diddy mentioned that he was going to use TD Jakes to soften his image because of
that is correct.
Because of his reach in the church, not because TD Jakes
he was swallowing up. Correct.
Right. And so, but I think a lot of people ran with that because of the sensationalism in journalism, that if you name a name, oh, now all the speculation is going through the buzz, and people only like to read the headlines instead of reading the actual filings, which is where people go wrong, and people get Tasha Cade.
But wasn't Cuba actually arrested for sexual assault or something like that? So
Cuba Gooding Jr., again, there are pictures of Cuba being very touchy.
He was touching a man's thigh. That's just to say what it was. He was touching
Lil Rod said that Cuba Gooding Jr. touched the inside part of his derriere. And he also said that Sean Combs often tried to go inside the derriere as well. Like that was their thing, is that they like to finger in the derriere. And I'm just telling you that's what it was. And I'm like, this is just too much. What may have been too much for some, in addition to what we see with Sean Combs, is what many saw with Beyonce. This is kind of our final point of the night, is to just get the opinions. We got Cowboy Carter here with all the fans and wanting to just kind of say, if you've listened to the album, what are your initial thoughts to Beyonce's Cowboy Carter?
I love that. Go ahead.
Keep Jolene on repeat, okay? And one thing that I loved about Beyonce, she wasn't gonna cry about Jolene, okay? She said, "Look, Jolene, you can try to take my man if you want to, but you're gonna have to catch these hands." I love the fact that she took her power back, and it's the fact that Dolly Parton, even for the haters, Dolly Parton gave the say so, and also was actually a precursor. What was it? The pre-recording before the recording, before you actually listen to the
Yeah.
track.
Yeah, Dolly's being credited with
She was
like
giving her
three
flowers.
different pieces of the album. The three different pieces of the album. You say Kenny is to give her flowers. Now I'm gonna call a thing. And again, I let me preface it
Pass
before
the baton. Is
the
that what you're
bees come.
saying?
You can't pass the baton to just the Dolly Parton.
No, I'm talking about
Okay.
Dolly passing it to Beyonce.
Oh, I don't think that Beyonce needs a Dolly baton either. As a lifelong Beyonce fan, like for her whole career, I've been a fan of her work. But I don't believe that this was necessarily it wasn't just a way for Dolly to get flowers. I think, to be honest with you, it's also a way of one Beyonce gaining credibility from a country music audience when she brings on people like Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson. The flowers she was given was being given to like the younger artists that are featured on Blackbird. The flowers that she's given goes to Martell, the first black woman to chart on the country Billboard. She gave flowers, but I don't think she gave to Dolly. I think that Dolly and Willie are there for credibility, but I think that Dolly and Willie are also there to gain this Album of the Year Grammy. That I think, when you put legends like that on an album, it's going to garner their fan base in the Recording Academy to vote for this album. That's what I think.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And I like Jolene. I like Texas Hold'em, or not, but it's Texas Hold'em, right? Is that the name of the song?
16 carriages. How you feel about it?
I like 16 carriages, but there was a video that they posted on Instagram that was going viral on one of the reels that showed Dolly Parton's Jolene, showed Miley Cyrus's Jolene, and then showed her Beyonce's Jolene. And it was funny because the only part, like they both said, "I'm Jolene, I'm begging you not to take my man." Beyonce was the only one that said, "I'm warning you, don't take my about my man." Like, so I just love the spin. And I love the fact that she's in this trilogy, Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, and whatever the next album is going to be, which is going to be rock and roll, which we know that's what at least has been speculated and reported, that she's trying to show and demonstrate that we can do all of these things and we can do them great. And this isn't something that we're trying to, like, someone posted, "Oh, she's appropriating white culture." Again, that's bullshit, because clearly black people created country music. So all of these things, I just love that she's what she stands for, what she continues to do. And whether you hate her or not, or you hate him for whatever reason, the reality is she's that girl.
Let me once again. I like the most. I know I'm so hated. Like, oh my god, that's fine. I get the meanest comments. But it's fine. Shantae gets them too. It's just it's a Scorpio Taurus thing. Two different ends of the night and the day, child. It is what it is. We it's fine. Brian, this is so controversial. Oh my goodness, I can't want to say it. I'm gonna say it though. Yeah, know I'm gonna say it. I think it's okay for white people to have country culture. There is some country culture. I think it is very much white culture. I do. And when I say that, I'm not talking about country music. I'm talking about a type of culture that has been embraced very heavily by not all white people, but by certain people. I'm from rural Mississippi, and I fully reject everything about country culture because I have grown up the absolute victim of country culture. Where I'm from, people would drive down in front of my house going because I live on a lake. I live on a lake, and no, it wasn't a beautiful house on a lake. It was a family land that was our land that had a huge stream, beautiful lush land that was annexed, forcibly taken away from my family by the county when they threw us, God knows how few dollars that land was worth that we got. And my relatives were proud to get it because it was better than nothing, which is what they could have taken. And I remember sitting on the porch with my great grandmother watching the country cars, trucks tear down the dirt road we lived on to get to this lake with their huge Confederate flags flying. That is country culture, and they can have it. To me, it belongs to them. And that is what I think of when I think of country music. I have no desire to reprogram my thinking to embrace this because this has never embraced me. I reject cowboy boots. I reject cowboy hats. I reject all of it because for me, it represents a deep form of trauma that I completely never want to see or live with again. And I don't talk often about my childhood in Mississippi. I don't talk about it, but it was exactly the hell that anyone out there would imagine. And so I'm thankful that Beyonce has been able to give voice to people who love this culture, but I am not one. And I do think it's white culture.
Well, it's white culture that's been appropriated because I mean we created rock and roll, we created country and folklore. So we're just basically taking our power back. Like I said before, I think Beyonce is empowering Black people because you really don't have that many, like mainstream Black country artists other than but Darius Rucker. I mean, I don't know that many,
Well,
but I
Martell,
like.
like the Martell lady that, I mean, again, we didn't know who these people were, but now we know them because Beyonce did bring them to the forefront. So, I mean, I agree.
She's
I'm not
highlighting a lot of
disagreeing.
people who have been left behind.
I agree. What you're saying is 100% true. I'm just saying I don't, I'm happy to let them have it as their culture.
Here, don't let them have it as a culture because it's not theirs.
I
But they
think
can
that's,
have but they can have a green bean casserole if that's what they want. But as far as country music, it's not theirs.
I agree with the green bean casserole as well. I And Beyonce added insult to injury by not only trying to take country music, but also taking away the Irish river dancing.
She's also got some opera in there too.
I haven't gotten that far on the album. I will.
Yeah.
That might be a cultural appropriation. I don't know where opera came from.
Ladies,
She
any
sings
ladies
opera.
here to defend anyone? Okay, any of you ladies listen to this album and have an opinion? Or y'all ain't listen either. Tiffany was celebrating all weekend her birthday. She didn't
I
care.
listened to it. I listened to it on Friday.
I love it.
How do you feel
listen
about
to it
Most
on
Wanted?
repeat. I mean, there isn't a song that I skip. I think that because it's not just country though. I mean, there's a lot of like
It's not
you
country.
can hear like a gospel feel to it.
It's really
She gets
Americana
into,
soul.
huh? Yeah, I mean, it
I
is. She raps in one song. There's a song with Dolly where the beat drops. I mean, it's not country at all. So I think when she says this isn't a country album, this is a Beyonce album, I think that is appropriately named, and it will win album of the year. There's no question. I mean, it's being.
I want her to turn it
Yeah.
down. I want her to win it, but I want her to decline it because I see the Grammys, the Oscars, the Emmys, the Tonys, all these awards as awards that profit off of Black talent and Black creativity and Black innovation, but they seek white validation and they dangle this carrot of our approval over the artist. I want her to reject the nomination. I think she will win it, but I want her to, that's just me being selfish.
She's gonna take that thing and take it and run off the stage with it, child.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna take all them things.
We'll probably never see her again.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the album. I wasn't sure what to expect with it. I went into it with like no expectations. Like people said country. We heard we heard all the songs. The two songs previously, the 16 carriages, and I done heard Texas Hold'em like 50 million times. So I wasn't really sure like what to expect, but once it starts and American Requiem comes on, I'm like, okay, well, this is a different vibe. And so I just let it play through and just to see, like I said, I didn't skip a song. There wasn't anything that I was like, I actually enjoyed that there was interludes because we haven't had albums with interludes in a really long time. That's old school. So I was like, oh, we got interludes. I love, what is it, Roses? Like that's love it. I love Protector because that gave like more of an R&B vibe, and it was about her children, and it just made me cry. So there was songs on there that felt like old Beyonce, that when she was R&B Beyonce, but then you also got like a different vibe with the country and some more upbeat songs. I thought it was really good. I don't know if I would listen to the whole thing through and through again. I'm not a person that likes to do that. So, but I do think there's some bangers, and like to your point, Kenny, about Most Wanted, loved it.
I think I skip Protector and Daughter, but I am not a parent. So I think it hits different when
But
you
what
are a
about
parent.
ballads? Because that's pretty much what it was given for me. She was bringing
Right.
back the ballad.
That's my
people-
Beyonce. That's my favorite
Daughter-
Beyonce.
Yeah,
I
Daughter is
listen
really
through.
about intrusive thoughts, though. I mean, when you look, Daughter is dark.
We finna rap.
Daughter is really
Yeah,
dark
I skip it.
about basically her enemy, meeting their end. and she's thinking about it and she's singing about it, and then she really gets into like you know, an Italian opera in the middle of it. It's crazy. Daughter is really dark in a
Brian,
really good way.
I tried hard. Like you see in the beginning, I was moving this, bro. I was moving this along. I do think that you would enjoy this if you sat down on a Friday and you're relaxing after your week and you start playing. And I recommend, like, there's 8 songs on the album that I love. Now, Tiff, I actually have listened to this nonstop since it started. When I first heard it, I was like, this is a bunch of good songs, but it doesn't make a cohesive album. And I'm still not understanding the placement of all the songs, to be honest with you, because it falls out of rhythm. But then for me, on Saturday, I woke up, I was cleaning up the house as much as I clean up the house, which is really just like picking up stuff. And so I was picking up and started playing it, but I picked the songs that I immediately liked, and I'm like, these songs are a vibe that fits a certain mood. Then the next set of songs were like a more upbeat, different mood that fixed it. But I did have to be honest with you. I took out Protector, cut it. I took out um, Daughter, and I cut it. And I those were the only two that really just did. And I hate this is another controversial statement. I took out Levi Jeans. I know y'all love it. I know y'all love that song where she say,
What?
"I'm baking ass." I know y'all love it. She said, "I'm baking ass in my Levi jeans," or whatever, cooking booty, whatever you're doing. I don't like the image of a booty cooking in jeans. I know y'all nasty. Y'all like some stanky booty and all that. I just don't like the imagery of Beyonce's booty cooking in jeans, and I can't listen to it again.
There's a little history with the Levi's, though. Do you guys know it? So
I
basically,
don't like
when
Levi's either.
Yeah, I know it.
well,
Oh,
when
what's the
Destiny's
history?
Child was on the scene, no designers would work with them. No designers would work
Oh,
with them, and so Mama Tina had to do their clothes, right? So, and except for Levi's was the only like major designer that would dress the girls. So if you look back at, all those low rises from Destiny's Child, that was
oh,
Levi's. So Beyonce is kind of just giving a hey, thank you to that.
oh. That's. I mean, and people. I know people gonna buy them jeans up. They gonna be bought. So, uh, yeah, they're gonna get out. Top 2 songs. I like Bodyguard, and I also like the song Blackbird. No one ever lists Blackbird in their top 3, but I love Blackbird when I first heard it. It gave me a really nice, mellow, chill out, clean up the house vibe. So those are mine. Shantae, have you listened or no?
Shantae is a no comment, y'all.
Do we
Shantae
think
said
So
she's on mute.
Bodyguard about Julius, you guys? No.
I didn't listen
I
child,
to.
mean, that's the
I
rumor.
say listen to it at least one time, Shantae, and then give us your
listen to
thoughts.
Bodyguard. I love Body. I love that song. I hadn't thought about that. I don't. Beyonce is on a tear. She's been letting Jay-Z have it left and right. Like Jolene was another slap in the face. Becky with the good hair was slap in the face. If she wrote Bodyguard about Julius,
Well, she's a Virgo. We don't forgive. We
I
forgive,
mean,
but we don't forget, and we're gonna remind you every 5 minutes.
Bodyguard is a really sexy song, though. Like that. Yeah. And, I don't know.
Hmm.
and with that being said, I think that's a great place to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. We cannot wait to have you next week. We will hit the goal of making this only 1 hour. And we thank all 730 people who are now with us. And again, we hope that next week that you're back with us, but back with us on the YouTube. Back with us on the YouTube. 717 people are looking at us on the Malcolm X app. And we can't wait to see you next week.